All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. Look at the lads. They're at Leicester. They were in King Power Stadium enjoying that performance. I personally feel that was our best performance of the season. And honestly, it must be so amazing. Let's start from there before we analyze the game and the lineups and everything that happened. I want to ask you boys, how was it, the drive from London to Leicester, the atmosphere being in the away end, and just the overall experience, going and watching? I feel like that was our best performance of the season. How was it, boys?
I think we've been in second gear a lot this season, but like me driving, we were in fifth, sixth gear. We were settled today. We cruised on the motorway today, and we cruised through this game from start to finish. It was a brilliant performance, like you say, the best of the season. First half in particular, where we absolutely dominated Leicester and won the game really in that half. Second half, obviously, got the third goal, cemented the win. But for me, it was just start to finish. Kante, we'll go on to him later. But wow, I mean, showing Leicester what he's missing. Chilwell as well. Oof. Yeah, so many good performances. Tuchel, I don't think he'll have much to complain about. And we've been talking about,
what about my boy Ziyech off the bench?
Well, yeah, great assists. I mean, there's so much to dissect here because there's so much good, and it's great to go to a game with such great atmosphere and win 3-0. But yeah, for me, just start to finish, fantastic. And there was a lot right today. There was not really anything I could complain about. So yeah, Taron, the drive was easy. And the game was, I mean, we're voices are okay after all the singing, but
my vocal cords are gone because we always saying it constantly during and after. That atmosphere, the floor was rocking, honestly. With the Thomas Tuchel chants, it was rocking. Nishal, everyone, Nishal was sitting the row in front of us. David Brown, loads of other people. We saw Tom from Leicester Fan TV after the game. It was just perfect, absolutely perfect. Atmosphere, all the chants, so loud. The away stand was absolutely massive, and the Leicester fans were very, very quiet. But yeah,
a lot of the Leicester fans, Taron, were leaving like 15 minutes before the game. They were just going because it was already finished 3-0. And Chelsea fans would have been even more boisterous, right?
Yeah, that just, if I was a Leicester fan, I'd be extremely concerned because that performance was such a massive, almost leagues apart, like League 2 versus Premier League golf of class. They really couldn't press us, they couldn't touch us, they couldn't attack us, they couldn't defend against us. It was just a complete domination from start to finish.
Taron, what a turnaround. Because literally less than 12 months ago, they pasted us under Frank Lampard. And I felt so sad that game. And look at the turnaround now. Like, night and day.
Incredible. And they're very similar players to that game, if you think about it. Vardy, Maddison, Johnny Evans, Sohuncu, all these other players. But now we completely obliterated them, to be frankly honest. They had nothing on us. Our possession, it was almost like we've said this season that first half we've been great, second half's been a bit, boring. The first half we've been poor, second half we've turned up. But this game, start to finish, we were absolutely world class. Another mark of why we are, in my opinion, going to be the Premier League winners this season. I said it before and I'm saying it again. Man City and Liverpool, they are.
I love the confidence.
Last season they were amazing, but this season we have been the best team in the Premier League. Defensively, going forward, I'd even say we've been the best team in terms of goals. So why can't we do it now? I'm going to say it right now. Why not us?
Nah, 100%, man. Pochettino in the mud. He calls us a defensive team. Absolutely in the mud, Pochettino. He needs to watch this particular game. And also, Scholes said our defense is not good enough. Yet another clean sheet away from home. We're just racking it up. Let's start from the beginning, Johnathan and Taron. The lineup, I did the preview yesterday with Ishan, and it's pretty much the lineup that we set it out. That was exactly what we had. The only difference was we had Christensen as opposed to Silva, and that was because Thomas Tuchel was saying that, Silva had just travelled, the time difference, or not whether he starts, so we would be thrown off by that. So we thought Christensen would start. But besides that, we predicted every other position's absolutely bang on. We even said Chalobah, that I think Azpilicueta is probably no longer a RCB. I think he's more of a rotational player for the right wing back because it's Christensen or Chalobah that's playing more RCB. I don't even think Aspi played RCB this season. I can't recall Aspi playing
maybe
a
once,
single match.
Maybe
once.
It just shows the trust he has in Chalobah as well, because
exactly
a long servant of Chelsea. You can always count on him.
Let's talk about the lineup. How do you boys feel about the lineup? I'll start with you, Jonathan, first up.
Yeah, I mean, I predicted it. I mean, Taron said, "What do you think the lineup is?" And I was actually in the car driving, just telling him what it would be. There was only one or two question marks, maybe Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek, and like you say, Silva and Christensen. We were both a bit surprised, obviously, because of his Brazil involvement. But, you know, there was a couple of bits in the first half, because obviously, you know, we were defending in our end. There was a couple of little shaky moments from Silva, but then he just grew into the game as we all thought he would, and he was fantastic. So it was another, I wouldn't say stroke of genius from Tuchel, because again, like you said, we all kind of picked that lineup, but it was the intent from the first minute. You know, we were, I mean, the first 3 minutes, Chilwell hit the bar. That could have been a complete game changer as well. We then score early on from the Rudiger header, great ball in from Chilwell, and it just looped in, and all Chelsea fans were sort of wondering if it was going to loop in. It did. I mean, he's got, I think the stat I saw on Twitter was 33% of his Chelsea goals against Leicester. I think the season,
two last season as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it was a great start. Then we obviously got the second goal. Kante just kept running and running, and I'm saying pass or shoot. I don't know what he's going to do. I think the Leicester players were just thinking, you know, he's going to pass. They didn't press him, and he just went.
No one expected that left foot shot. No one expected that going back. I don't even think Schmeichel expected. Schmeichel was going to his right.
And I was in the stand saying to Nishal, what? and Taron, like, what? Kante? Really?
I tweeted
for a couple of minutes.
I was like, was that Kante? Was that really Kante?
He was incredible today. Exactly, you know, at his best, doing what he does, picking the ball up in spaces where you don't expect him to, winning the ball back, and then driving and playing players in. So he was incredible today. Man of the match for me, not the Thiago Silva that, but
for me as well, Kante.
Given. But yeah, Kante was absolutely incredible. I mean, what would you say, Taron, in terms of the first half was kind of the highlight? Obviously, the goals were good, but what was the thing that impressed you, I would say?
I'd just say our dominance going forward. They tried to press us high, but Kante every single time was getting first to the ball. Jorginho was winning fouls and then bypassing players. Mason Mount was just winning everything. And they really couldn't get near us. That's what was just an absolute, I say, surprise. We're playing at the King Power Stadium, which is a stadium that is renowned for its atmosphere. So it's renowned to be hard to play at. Man United lost 4-2, even though Man United aren't great this season, lost 4-2 here. Teams have struggled here over the years. Us last season struggled here. Season before we drew 2-2. But at the King Power Stadium, complete dominance. They couldn't get near us. And it was just absolutely beautiful.
We haven't won it in 3 league games, I think it is. So, yeah, I mean, I know Leicester are not in great form, but it was a great performance. Yeah, first half, I say we couldn't have asked for much more. We were all, you know, taken aback by how good we were, just in every aspect.
It's a dominant away performance. I don't care how good or bad Leicester's been this season. It's a dominant performance. Taron, I'll go to you this time. I mean, let's obviously we've talked about, you know, the first half. We've talked about our impact in the second half. Let's talk about some player performances in that game. Let's start from the back. Edouard Mendy did not have much to do, but a couple of shots from long range deflected. There was one, I think, from Amati, a deflection. And Mendy had to adjust right at the end and just sticks that hand out right at the end. Puts it, for me, and he's done it twice, I think, in that particular match in the second half. He has to be best in the world, doesn't he? He has to be #1 goalkeeper right now.
I think that these moments kind of separate okay goalkeepers from good goalkeepers to world-class goalkeepers. And what I'm saying is, you're barely doing anything the whole game.
Taron's got the smoke today. He's full of smoke.
You know what? Because I said in the stand, I was like, this is what separates the best from the rest. It's keeping the attention in those big moments. And then Taron's just gone, I quite like that.
You should have copyrighted that. You should have copyrighted that, Jonathan.
But yeah, he barely had anything to do the whole game, apart from maybe a few ground kind of simple catches. And out of the blue, Daniel Amati with an absolute banger from long range. And Mendy, after standing still for probably about 30 minutes, flies out of the books like Spider-Man, tips over the bars from the top bin. Absolutely world class. I mean, the second save, I did say Jonathan, it did look a bit theatrical.
He didn't realise it because it was deflected. It came up, and then, you know, I always think if you go with purpose as a goalkeeper, and he swatted that away so easily. So I mean, the second half, I think in terms of performances, Pulisic came on, looked bright, obviously got his goal. There was an earlier chance just before the goal where he put it wide. He was at the near post. He went with his right foot. And, you know, we had the 3 offside goals. It could have been 4-5-6-0, literally. I mean, a couple of times Chilwell went a little bit early. You know, we had to either get the pass a little bit quicker because he's going at full speed. He's not going to, you know, be able to bend his run. But that's the thing. We could have honestly come away with 4, 5, 6 goals. You know, we've seen Liverpool win 5-0 away from home. Man City will 5-0. This could have been a 5-6-0 and a real statement victory. But even without those 6 goals, the 3-0 was statement enough, in my opinion. You know,
No,
currently 6 points
100%.
clear at the top of the league with other, obviously, games to play. But it was just, every time we're on the ball, we just looked calm. We had options, 2-3 options every single time. James was, just incredible driving forward. He's just, one of the best in the world right now, what he's doing, and Chilwell as well. I mean, that's the thing. I think the key for me again was the wing backs. Really good first half, Chilwell and James just throughout, and obviously Kante. So when you've got those three playing to your max, you don't really need everyone else to step up and really make statements, because it was I wouldn't say Leicester were awful, but they weren't great today. They didn't press us. They didn't really challenge us, but we were also just fantastic. So it was polar opposites, and that's what kind of culminated in the victory. But yeah, I think Mount did well today in terms of pressing, but didn't have to do much on the ball because Kante was almost three midfielders. Even when Loftus-Cheek came on, didn't really have to do anything. He could have probably come on, sat in the centre circle and just watched Kante. Everyone pretty much could have just watched Kante because he was just incredible. We were talking in the car about how last couple of seasons he's had injuries, had lack of form, not really been in the right position. But today he showed everyone exactly why he is the best at what he does. So yeah, Tuchel, even sometimes, Taron was saying to me, Tuchel's really annoyed with that pass or that chance. He's still the perfectionist. So even though it was our best performance today, we've still, in my opinion, got ways to improve about just getting more goals and taking our chances, because there was still goals in that game. Obviously, forget the offside goals. There were still more legitimate goals in that game to get.
No, 100%, man. It's good that you guys get to see when you're live there, Thomas Tuchel's reactions as well.
It's a great view as well on the corner. I mean, if you see where we're sitting, you can see the whole pitch. It was an absolute. Yeah. I mean, where you are on the way in is brilliant at Leicester.
100%.
Yeah, so
a couple other players that I want to call out. Chalobah from defense, that pass to Ziyech. Overall, he looked really good. There was just a couple of moments in the second half, but that's very natural. That's normal. You're going to have that every now and then. But overall, defensively, he was very, very good. But I do want to speak about his distribution from the back. Sometimes it goes long. I think there was one time in the second half where he went long and found Chilwell in the middle of the box. Chilwell's just all over in the final third. But that pass to Ziyech and then Ziyech assist to Pulisic. Once again, Taron, Chalobah, what a player this guy's turning out to be. Outstanding. I mean, it's very difficult not to start him on a regular basis now.
Yeah, I said it in the stream we did last week. He is probably up there with the top three players this season in terms of Chelsea, in terms of everything taken into account, the revelation, how he's come into our team, and how natural he looks. Displaced players such as Aspilicueta and Andreas Christensen. I don't know if he was. I'm not quite sure if he was on the bench today, but starting over Aspilicueta Christensen is just enough to say for itself. His work on the ball is so composed. It looks like he's been playing in this league for 3, 4, 5 years even. He's getting pressed by a Leicester team who are high octane, playing a high style of football for many years under Rodgers, and he just looks so composed. He takes his time, the game slows to his pace, and his distribution is on the money, whether it's long, whether it's short, whether it's a through ball, and it's just the driving runs as well. When he has that space, some players might just think, let's pass it into the middle. But he's always looking forward. He's not a player who looks backwards. He's always looking forward. He's our progressive kind of. We have two players.
Exactly. He's driving the ball like Rudiger now on the right side. He's driving it forward.
That's what I mean. Rudiger, I wouldn't rather have anyone as a mentor as centre-back than Rudiger, because everything that Rudiger does is what I would aspire to be if I was a centre-back. And Chalobah doing this week in, week out, his tenacity. I mean, a few times, if I was to talk about Slight complaining, a few times in the back post, he did fall asleep. For the offside goal from Lookman, he did kind of fall asleep a little bit, but it was offside. It wasn't really at the end of the day. But in terms of that game, again, he's starting in a high-pressure game, like I said, at the King Power Stadium, against Harvey Barnes, against Lookman, against Jamie Vardy. And he's slotting in there like a real top Premier League centre-back. He's so good that many people have forgot about Jules Koundé. Literally, we forgot about we were even linked to them in the summer. He's been an absolute revelation. And if he can continue on and on, he could be our Rudiger replacement on the left centre-back position if he can be trained to play there, if Rudiger does leave. He's tenacious, he's aggressive, he's great with the ball, he plays long passes, he's not afraid to drive out in possession. He looks like a real player if he can add leadership to his game as well.
100% agreed, man. I mean, Johnathan, let's talk about the midfield. Kante, Jorginho looked so good and composed in midfield. Even some of the long passes, he made one really good pass for Kante in the first half, first time pass, Kante was through. Kante did everything right. Good save from Schmeichel, but Jorginho, interceptions, reading the play, controlling the tempo, and Kante, interceptions, driving runs, that goal. I mean, that goal, obviously, Reece James firstly beat the press and turned the defender inside out and then laid it off to Kante, and then Kante went for the drive. But Jorginho and Kante, Johnathan, how special was that combination, especially today? Last season, we saw that in the Champions League as well.
It's the dynamic, allowing Kante to go and win the ball and have the freedom to drive forward. Jorginho will sit there and win the ball, and like you say, pick up the passes. It's probably easy to overlook and underestimate how good Jorginho was today. Even myself, look, I'm talking about Kante, and everyone will. But yeah, the stability that Jorginho allows for Kante to then go forward, it's the dynamic, it's that partnership that, you know, that has blossomed today. And I think I even said during the game, this is without Kovacic as well, one of our best players this season, without Lukaku, who's brought to be our goal scorer. So, you know, if we add these guys in and can sprinkle in a few more goals from attacking players, it's great that wing backs...
Just say it, bro. We're winning it. We're winning the title. Just say it.
Yeah, I mean, if we can add in some goals from our attackers, because Havertz, again, a couple of nice touches, movement, but not really...
We'll get to that. We'll get to... I've got a few things to say about Havertz.
There was the midfield just controlled the tempo, the pressing from Kante, and then obviously getting the ball out wide to the wing backs. It's you know, it was helped obviously by Hudson-Odoi, I think, as he was really good. Even when Ziyech came on, his cameo as well was good. But yeah, the midfield just brings us a stability, and obviously with a defence that doesn't look like it's going to concede. You know, other than the one chance Vardy headed over where he just brought on Iheanacho at half time, and I think the defenders will. I even said, Taron, I don't know. You know, they've gone from marking 1 to marking 2. I don't think they've communicated that well. But other than that header, who went over, obviously the couple of chances that Mendy saved from pop shots, there wasn't really anything for him to do.
It wasn't really.
You know, when you have someone that in goal or a defence that isn't going to concede, it's easier as a midfield because you know that generally you can just progress the ball and drive forward and get it to the players that are going to do the damage. So yeah, another flawless performance from them too. And I'm looking forward already to the Juve game because it's a big must-win game. Off the back of a great performance like that, though, should give us the impetus to go forward and win that game and hopefully win the group. So, you know, we've got Man United next Sunday. Great time to hit a little bit of form. And I know we have to praise in isolation. It may be that, you know, we play... we can't quite hit this level every single week, and I completely understand that. But it's a good marker to set and a standard for Tuchel to go, look, you can do this away to Leicester. You know, after the international break, everyone's been away. You know, we've had 1 or 2 days together. Why can't you do this on a more consistent basis? So it's a good standard to set for Tuchel, in my opinion, and for the players that have set themselves. So, yeah,
100%.
I mean, we'll probably talk about the attack in a minute, but I think that's the stability that it allows us, the defence and the midfield and the structure. You know, allowing players to go out of position and others sort of settle in. It's a great thing to have because we're just so efficient. And today was at maximum efficiency.
No, 100%. Taron, let's talk about the attack a little bit. We'll keep the players that I felt was good, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about 2 players that I want to sort of talk about, Havertz and Mount. For me, Mount, let's start with Mount. For me, Mount, he hasn't played enough, so maybe I can give him some allowance that his impact in the game wasn't up to the level that he generally has. That's why obviously he got substituted off. Some of his passes were a bit off, you know, a bit mistimed. Overall, his work rate was fine, but I think he was just a bit touch off from his normal game. But I want to give him an allowance because he hasn't played. This is his first game back. But Havertz, Taron, this is a player I've been told by so many fans in social media that, oh, you're always harsh on Havertz. For me, it's like, man, Lukaku's going to get fit very soon. He's probably going to be fit for next weekend. And you haven't done enough to warrant that you're going to start ahead of him. It's pretty much an easy, you know, call for Tuchel to say just Lukaku comes back. And that's what I've been talking about Havertz, that yes, you've scored goals. Yes, you've made some assists, but your overall impact in the team. Today, there was no impact, you know. And it feels like he makes initial movement great, controls the ball, drives well, but then the final product, he doesn't pass, he doesn't shoot, he doesn't make that clinical decision right at the end. I mean, what do you have to say about both the players, Mount and Havertz, but specifically Havertz?
I'll start with Mount. I think, yeah, like you said, Mount missed our last game for the international break. He did come on off the bench against Burnley, but, you know, he didn't look right. And then he obviously had his wisdom teeth treatment, that really funny video on his Instagram account. Yeah, he's come back. He didn't look too sharp. But like you said, yeah, I'll allow him for this game. He's still coming back. He didn't really travel anywhere in in the international break. But yeah, Havertz overall today, I was getting a bit frustrated. It was just the same things we're talking about all over again. It looks like we're putting Kai Havertz into the Lukaku role. Last season Havertz had a lot of freedom. He would drop deep, he would receive possession, but now he is really up against the defenders, a lot more tightly marked, and he doesn't really have a lot of space to operate. He needs to just hold the ball up with his chest, with something, bring the other players into possession. Where he loses the ball, his touch isn't quite there. Out of all the players in our team today, I would say he was definitely not a standout. He needs to improve. He scored some good goals in the time that Lukaku's been injured, but he's definitely not done enough to start with Romelu Lukaku. He needed to make his real stake in the team, like Hudson-Odoi, like Ben Chilwell, like Reece James, over Aspirations and Alonso. But again, he hasn't done that. We have a player who spent £98 million on. I know Havertz was £75 million. We brought in Lukaku to be our main goal scorer, to score goals. And right now, you look at our other inverted forwards. Hudson-Odoi's been playing great. Mason Mount, who was basically undroppable. Ziyech, who had a very good game today. Kante and Pulisic, who scored today. And Havertz, is he really ahead of maybe Ziyech and Pulisic? Apart from that, can he really have a real name to start in this team anymore? I don't really know. And it's quite upsetting, to be quite honest. I wanted him to do amazingly well. We know the talent this man has. He ripped up the Bundesliga at the age of 19. He's a real world-class talent. But right now, Lukaku comes back. He's going to have to make his impact on the bench again, unfortunately, until he can really make a real impact. So yeah, definitely one of the most frustrating players on the pitch.
No, 100%. I mean, Johnathan, let's talk about a couple of the other positive players. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I feel like decent overall game, just didn't have that goal or that assist. But overall, I liked his impact. Played the whole 90 minutes, tracked back. That work rate will be very impressive. Pulisic looked busy when he came on. He was so energetic. And that false nine position, really, that's something quite interesting. I'd
played better than Havertz today, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Rolled the defenders nice. He's got that pace where he can get in behind. Yeah, took it around a couple of times, but
he was always there in the box. And Ziyech as well off the bench. He looked so hungry. Could have had at least 3 assists. I counted at least minimum. That first one where Pulisic missed. Obviously, the second one where Pulisic scored, and there was another one I think where Reece James scored, but it ended up being a offside goal. And that was also, Ziyech feeding that. Overall, Ziyech looked really good off the bench. What do you think about these 3 players? I mean, it looks like there's some healthy competition going there.
It was very fluid, a lot of movement, which is why we had those chances in the final third. As I said, a couple of times Chilwell went a bit early, Hudson-Odoi went a bit early, Pulisic. But yeah, overall, I think Ziyech, a couple of times, in the first few minutes when he came on, we thought, is it not really going for him today? But then, because of the pace of the game and we were still just counter-attacking and there was a lot of space in behind, he was able to get his foot on the ball, look up, and there was so much movement. I mean, Pulisic's running in behind, Hudson-Odoi wants it, Chilwell's coming across, James wants it. So we had a lot of players offering for the ball, which then, gives him options. And, when players are not quite sure where he's going to play, where he's going to dribble, that's when he can be most dangerous. And there was a ball where he put it in, as I said, I thought it was a miscue where he put it in flat to Pulisic, who missed that chance. It was a lot more encouraging today. I was a bit surprised he came on in front of Werner. I said, I thought Werner would probably come on with Pulisic, but Pulisic was really good today. I think he just needs to be consistent and stay injury-free. I think he's probably ahead right now, if I'm honest, as much as I'm a backer of Havertz and I love the tune,
Does he start for you against Juventus?
No, not for me. Against Juventus, Lukaku won't be fit, so maybe. Yeah. But I would, in a big game like that, he'd probably stay with Havertz and not go with Pulisic. But just because of how Pulisic's played, maybe be interesting to see what he does against Juventus as well. And obviously, having either side of Mount, Ziyech, and then obviously Hudson-Odoi, who looked good today. Wasn't always there on the final touch because there's other players around him. There were so many attacking outputs today. It was difficult to be the one with the assist or goal, but he was in the right positions. There was a lot of good play. Just want to keep pushing him forward to take players on, and just don't be afraid to use his pace and take a shot when the opportunity arises. So yeah, Hudson-Odoi for me is pretty much a stickler at left wing now. I know Pulisic likes to play there, but he can rotate and go on the right, and then Lukaku in the middle. So when Lukaku's fit, I would probably say right now, I'd probably go for Hudson-Odoi, Lukaku, Mount. But Pulisic, he continues that, will be in. Ziyech as well will be in. Havertz, he's shown us some good things. Nice header against Burnley. A couple of other nice bits of play. But there's a lot of pre-work in the build-up. The final ball, the final touch, just being decisive and using his body isn't quite there. He's just not really hitting the form that we need. And as I said, to see Pulisic come on and do that, there's a big difference. So, Yeah, but we've got options and we've got a deep squad, and that's when times like today, when we needed to stretch the game and make it even harder for Leicester to get back in, it's great to bring on players like Pulisic and Zietz, because a lot of teams don't have that luxury. Pulisic is almost like a new signing, with all of his injuries. So yeah, it was just from top to bottom absolutely fantastic today. We were singing the whole 90 minutes. The atmosphere was, as I said earlier in the stream, just incredible. It's the best game I've had for Chelsea for a long time. I mean, I went to Chelsea 5, Everton 0 under Conte when Hazard was, and the wing-back system was really in a heyday. But that matches this, in my opinion. It was just, really good. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to the Juve game and the Man United game. So it's going to be a great week of football.
Balling, absolutely balling.
I'm really excited for it. So, yeah, can't ask for much more today.
Brilliant. Final thoughts before we wrap things up. Taron, fantastic start to the weekend. Every Chelsea fan out there will have a brilliant weekend from here on in. Obviously, we've got some big matches coming up, Arsenal, Liverpool. There could be some possible drop points for someone over there. Hopefully, it's Liverpool. And obviously, City, Everton. That could be a very, very tasty situation as well. What happens there? We could perhaps extend the lead. So, some final thoughts, Taron. How you feeling moving forward, man? Juve coming up.
Yeah, feeling very good. First of all, I'd say Chelsea will definitely win the Premier League title. I don't want to jinx it, and I don't say this unless I'm very confident.
Just clip that.
November. You're making the claim in November.
I'm making the claim. I'm actually making the claim now. Unless something catastrophic happens, I think we will win the Premier League title.
I did say after the Burnley game though, that Man City are probably still a little bit ahead of us. Liverpool, got obviously some AFCON, some players going away.
Yeah,
I still can't call Chelsea as the favourites. I'm sorry, I don't think we're favourites yet.
But
if we continue in this vein, then we're right up there. We're in the conversation. I think my thought is, a title, a team aspiring for the title has showed today one of the reasons why we can be seen as a clear competitor and someone that will challenge and push City and Liverpool all the way. But we've got to have more games like today. As I said, this season we've been winning games, not been playing great. Today we won a game and we were fantastic, and we would have given any team in this league in the world a great game today and probably beaten most of them. So we just need to keep the standard. Just players need to get into form. And today we gelled well. There was a lot of fluidity. There was a lot of movement. We just need to continue that. But yeah, Taron's confident. I like your confidence, Taron. But who's going to finish? Who's going to push us the hardest then? If you're saying we're going to win the league, which I don't quite agree with yet, Man City or Liverpool, who's going to push us the hardest?
Man City, 100%. I don't think Liverpool have been nearly as good as their best. I feel like when AFCON comes around, they're really going to suffer. With Mo Salah and Mane going out, that's literally half of their goal contributions probably. And Chelsea without Mendy could be hard, but we have a very, very suitable back, in my opinion, in Kepa. But yeah, just to finish things off, what a day, what an atmosphere, what a win, and what a channel, what a stream. But yeah, we'll see you for the next game. Johnathan might have some content coming up for the next few games.
I'm absolutely buzzing for these next two games. Yeah, Juve's a big game because it will decide our kind of future in the Champions League this season, because if we can win the group, it really gives us a better draw. So we do need to win this game. And obviously Man United, I do not want to lose that game. I've got too many Man United friends that are going to shove it down my throat if we don't win. So yeah, it's a big week coming up. We started it off really nicely after the international break. We just need to continue this and just push ahead.
100%, man. Now there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'll hold my thoughts on. We're definitely in the title chase. There's no doubt about that. But whether we win it or not, I think we'll figure out by the end of December. Come 1st January, we'll see what the situation is. I think from there we'll figure out exactly what's going on. But yeah, thank you so much, Johnathan and Taron. Ladies and gentlemen, check out their socials in the description. And milestone today with the watch along as well. I think we crossed 10,000 views and also 150 likes in the watch along, which was brilliant. That watch along was buzzing today. I think
brilliant.
That was absolutely
road to 10K as well. So
man,
it's a good time. But it was so good to. I think every Chelsea fan involved. We were talking to quite a few fans after the game. We obviously spoke to a Leicester fan, which we'll see later on Taron's content. It was everyone's buzzing today. It's a 12:30, and we were driving saying, if you lose, it's going to be horrible. But if you win, it's a great weekend, and it's been a great start and a great game. So yeah, obviously, thanks for having us as always, and
100%.
See you guys soon,
boys. Go and have a safe trip back home, and we shall see you guys very soon in the channel again. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Smash the like button before you go, and if you're here for the first time, subscribe. As I said, check out the boys and their socials in the description. Until next time, everyone, take care and enjoy the weekend, of course.